Hi everyone, today is September 1st, 2018, and this is a Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deck Tech.
And we're entering an interesting month of Duel Links. The Kaiba Cup has just started. Well, it started a few days ago, but the ranked season has just started. Both of us we're doing the different things during the last week, and we have, as a result, we have different experiences and different decks to talk about. So, Deck Tech, what were you doing last week? And tell me your experiences competing with other people.
Yeah, so I have been focusing more on the KC Cup in my time that I've been able to play. Per usual, I can't devote like a ton of time to it, but I was just kind of content with camping at Legend for PvP for that last week, and have instead gone to the KC Cup for all of my decent number of PvP games. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster for me. You were there in our messages and stuff. As soon as the set came out, I wanted to try Sea Stealth Attack because I thought that it got a good boost, but I really struggled for the first couple days with it. And then once the KC Cup started, I noticed that a lot of people were running Amazonas. We'll talk about it later, but it's either the first or second most popular deck on there. And I don't love mirror matches in any game. I don't usually love them, and this one isn't really an exception. It's not a fun mirror match to me. It kind of just comes down to who gets more monsters out if you're both playing the Endless Trap Hell version. And so I didn't want to play Amazonas, which was going to be the deck that I was going to use. So instead, I took another look at Sea Stealth because it beats Amazonas. And it's been doing okay for me so far. I'm currently at, I think, rank 16, maybe 17 in the KC Cup. So it's been doing all right. So I finally found like a build that worked, or maybe the meta shifted a little bit in that time. And it seems like definitely part of it was the build because I was playing some janky stuff before. But that's kind of where I'm at with the roller coaster ride of the Sea Stealth and playing more in the KC Cup than in ranked PvP.
And just to interrupt, are you making use out of any of the new cards, or are the new cards kind of the hindrance?
No, I'm definitely using the new cards now. I'm not sure if I definitely don't feel like it's fully refined. My list runs a lot of 2-ofs right now, which tends to kind of be a sign that you don't know exactly where you want to take it. But it's working, so I stopped fiddling with it for now. But I have the Mermail Abysmegalo, which is the 7-star one that you discard 2 water monsters to special summon, and then you can get one of your Abyss equips. And I have 1 Abyss equip in there now, the one that counters a trap. And then I have a couple of the Atlantean guys that help you, or that when you use them to pay for a cost, they destroy either a face-up or a face-down card on your opponent's side of the field. So I've got a little bit in there. I was playing more of them before, but now I kind of went back to a little bit more of a Citadel Whale-focused build. It's interesting because Citadel Whale, to get it out, you need 2 monsters out, which makes you walk into a treacherous trap hole. But once you get it out, a lot of the decks, specifically Amazonas, that run treacherous trap hole have no answer to it at all in the current meta. They don't run, I don't know, what's it called? The Headlong, Super Rush Headlong.
Yeah.
So there's no answer once you get it out. So it's like I've had a lot of games where I lost on the first turn because I set up the Citadel Whale and they treacherous trap held me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's too much of a tempo loss. I basically discarded my whole hand and they have advantage again. And then I had other games where I just got it out on the first turn. Don't have it, they don't have it, and then it's just game over because they can't deal with it at that point. So it's not the most interactive, but it's been fun.
That's one of the two.
Yeah, exactly. How about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, unlike you, in playing the KC Cup much, I've switched over to ranked. Well, in the last week I switched over to ranked. I'm going to play the KC Cup this week. But kind of with the nerfs, I kind of thought that Amazonas would run away with all of, would represent all the games. So I was just thinking of decks that I have that could beat them, and I was thinking of Gearges because they do a lot of the back row control, and once you do that, once you kill their onslaughts, that's the game for the Amazoness, I think. And I actually got to the promotion game for King of Games, and I got all the way to Legend 3, but then things didn't work. I guess I started losing all my games. It's part of the meta that was going on. It was like fewer Amazoness later on and things like that. And I kind of realized that the balance build that I was playing was a bit outdated. It was very inconsistent. I think that was the main things. Usually, when you are playing a bit of a control deck, you want to have your optimal setup, and I definitely did not have an optimal setup. Only have 2 ties. I actually crowdsourced this online. I was saying my needle sealing doesn't work, what helps? And people were giving me all these cards. And I didn't have all the cards. That's the struggles of being free to play, I guess. And having two ties instead of 3 when you're running a balance, that's 30%, 33% instead of 50% of getting the ties. So,
Yeah.
And then I switched over. So when I demoted to Legend 2, this was just hours left. I switched over to the new Cyber Style Vampire deck, and then I immediately got back to Legend 3, but it was 9 o'clock already, so it just I had my final game after 9, and I just got back to Legend 3. So I won 5 in a row to end the season, when the season exactly ended.
So close.
But I do have a deck to play now. I'm going to play the Vampires instead. This is the Blackluster Soldier version of Vampires, so I'm going to try to play that for the KC Cup.
Dope. I love Blackluster Soldier, so I'm on board.
Yeah. The Gearges I've seen hit King of Games and Duel Links meta, they look completely different. They're the Endless Trap Hell version. They have like a Drilloid and just traps. They don't even run ties. So it's, I don't have 3 Paleozoic Canadias to play that. It's too rough.
Yeah.
But thanks to all the people online who helped, made me realize how poor I am, but also, it's definitely fun interacting with people and saying like what works and what doesn't for a deck that's not really even tier 4 right now. So,
yeah,
fun building that. Yeah,
nice. We always love to hear from the community, so it's really cool when they step up and specifically answer a call that we put out or something.
Yep. For sure. All right. So we're going to talk about Duel Links Meta Weekly number 35. And this was a very interesting one, particularly because our meta is a bit unsettled right now. And you saw, if you're looking at all the decks, there's a lot of Amazoness and Fur Hires. Even after the nerfs, the Fur Hires are still here. But they did not make the top 4, the Fur Hires.
Yeah, I believe this took place based on the comments in it the day after the set went live, right? So there's definitely, it was even more unsettled then than it is now. It's kind of been figured out a little bit more since then, but I expect next week we'll see a little bit more of the more recent cards and builds and stuff.
Yep. In the top 16, actually we didn't notice this, the top 16 actually had a Kawaki Meirut.
I saw that. Oh, man. I hope that...
You think it's the Beast Warrior version or some other version?
I have no idea. It's just so ridiculous.
And you know all those cards, so...
I do, yeah. I mean, like I said when we were reviewing it, I thought the Beast Warrior was kind of the only decent build, but I thought that was going to be like a deck you'd play in Gold and Platinum, not a deck that you bring to the Duel Links meta tournament and get top 16. So I don't know, man.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I guess so.
First place, Sasuke, Cyber Style Vampires, and Endless Trap Hell Amazoness. It seems what we've expected. Vampires are gravitating towards Cyber Style more and more. Before they were kind of skillless, and now we have this 21 card deck of Cyber Style. It really is great for the tribute summons. This one runs Hey Trunade. Vampire Takeover is kind of becoming a staple. Vampire's Desire is less so; it's getting cut a lot. And yeah, Endless Trap Hell, Amazonis, they are doing fine without Baby Tiger.
Yep, as to be expected, this is pretty much exactly what we talked about. We mentioned the scouts is the thing that he put in there that maybe wasn't in there before, and that was definitely one of the ones that you mentioned as possibly going in to replace the others. The traps, he's going with the, Wall of D, a couple of Treacherous, and Palezo, just kind of good traps. So it all very much makes sense there. It's kind of what we expected to see.
I find it how Paleozoic Canada kind of became the best trap card.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty solid. I do think it's overused, but then again, I don't have it, so maybe it's better than like when you're playing with it, you feel better than when you're playing against it. It seems kind of unimpactful sometimes, but it does mess up my my mermails and stuff every once in a while.
Black Jesus, second place, Cyber Style Vampires, and My Monster Cards Amazonis. This is the version that I am playing now. It is the one with the BLS Sacred Soldier, which is actually a free card. You could get it from the trader. And, yeah, it's a 21 card version as well. A thing I've noticed about the new vampires is that they're cheaper, because you don't need 3 retainers or a familiar, so you only need 2 of each, and that's what I have, so I could build this deck in its entirety.
Nice.
Yeah. The My Monster cards, Amazonis, the Sphere Karibo counts as that extra monster. So there it is.
Yeah, we were already seeing Sphere Karibos in the My Monster Cards builds for the most part. I think again, kind of the new one seems to be the Scouts, but the advantage of the My Monster Cards over, well, obviously the one advantage is that the whole point of running My Monster Cards is that you have a pretty solid chance of opening with Princess. But the other advantage is that you get to run Cosmic Cyclone, which seems like it's really strong, at least in the meta that is in the KC Cup right now, because there's so many other Amazonis decks, and because there's a decent amount of Sea Stealth decks, and even the other decks that aren't devastated by it, they're still targets. Like UA depends a lot on both the trap and the field spells, so there's some good targets. That seems like a really strong card right now. So even though I think the Endless Trap Hell feels like a more powerful version, I think the My Monster cards might be a better meta call right now.
And we still haven't seen Downbeat since the Japanese people brought it to that tournament.
I played against it once, but
oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah, but he discarded it to a princess, so it didn't matter. But yes,
gotta see more Downbeats. Fairy Cherry, Cyber Style UA, and Restart Spellbooks. As we alluded to, UAs, they're pretty much the best. I think they're the best archetype from the new box. And, this one's really good. It's got a lot of 3Os of the Stadium, the penalty box, 3 Canadias, 3 midfielders. This is pretty clean list here.
Yep, yeah, I played a little bit of the deck. I've only purchased like 1 and maybe a half of the box, so I only have 2 Stadium and 2 midfielders, so I'm playing kind of a little bit of a janky version, but I've played against it a lot, and it's a powerful deck. It's one that it feels like the meta has not yet figured out how to respond to because it's so new, but it does feel like also one that can be responded to once we kind of figure out how it works and stuff. Treacherous Trap Hall seems to be pretty good against it. A lot of versions, such as this one, are very reliant on the midfielder. Some of them have other cards like the Tricky or I forget what it's called, but the flying elephant guy who you can summon for free. With the
flying elephant guy. The guy. He's not an elephant. He's a koala, a Dianterian.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, whatever he is, Dianterian. So some of them run those cards that let you get out your tributes easier, but some of them you either have to take damage to activate Cyberstyle or you have to have the midfielder. So I've won a couple games by just not attacking until I had lethal. But that's kind of risky because you're giving them more time to find their pieces. So I don't know. We'll see what the best reaction is after we get to play against and with it more.
Yeah, even with Gearges, I think the something like Pulse Mines is good because it stops them, it switches them to defense mode after they come on board each time. So I noticed that. It's definitely really, it's like playing against anti-magic arrows. It's kind of like that type of deck where you have to try to plan in advance.
Yeah, right, because they have big guys that can run you over. They have the Slugger, which has the anti-magic arrows ability. I guess the Rebounder lets them summon another one, so they can come out of nowhere, which is why you want to not give them that one turn of Cyberstyle. Like you might think that it's worth it to get in a little bit of chip damage and set it up, but as soon as they get going, they can really snowball. So that's been my experience so far, at least.
Restart spellbooks is, what we've seen a million times, so we're not going to talk about it. And then KSLVD, third place. Balanced Geminis. They're here. This control deck is here. And Switcheroo Spellbooks. So let's talk about this Balanced Gemini deck because we love it. It's got 3 Dark Valkyria, 1 Heavy Knight, 3 Evocator Chevaliers, 3 Gemini Spark, 3 Supervise, 1 Birthright, 3 Drowning Mirror Force, and 3 Paleozoic Canadia. It's a very expensive deck. You had to go into the last box, the box that had Evocateur. Yeah, just pretty fun deck, looks like.
Yeah, so I've seen a little bit of this deck, probably not very much. I think that its play amount is limited by how expensive it is. Like you said, you have to buy... do you know if... Yeah, Evocateur's an SR, so you have to buy Burning Nova, I don't know, 1.5 times. Yeah, twice. And you have to buy through Gaia Genesis 3 times because you have the 3 sparks, basically. The Valkyria is an SR, so you might get a little lucky there. And the Drowning Mirror Force is not necessary. It's not core to the deck, so you don't have to go 3 on that. But you definitely want at least 2, but probably 3 sparks. That's kind of the point. And so it is a little bit of an expensive deck, is why I haven't been able to play it yet, and why I think other people haven't either. But it feels a lot like the old, what we used to call Control, I don't know, maybe about a year ago now, with the Heavy Knights and the Sergeant Electros, and sometimes some bounce effects, but mostly just kind of like you play solid guys, you play a few combat tricks, and you just kind of control the board through their effects of either locking down or destroying the back row and other monsters and stuff. And it just seems like a really fun deck. I really enjoyed the old Control style, and I would love to be able to play this.
Yeah, the Gemini Spark is fast. It makes the Control deck a little faster. So there's definitely a lot of advantages to playing this deck, and it's probably really easy to play once you have all the cards. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So this is using kind of like other game terminology. This is kind of more of like a tempo control or a mid-range control, where you're still playing decent enough monsters. These guys have 1900 attack, 1800 attack, and so you can kind of be the aggressor. You get out a guy, you supervise, you spark, and then all of a sudden you have like 2-3 guys out, and you can clear the path a little bit and just kind of win quickly, as opposed to like a pure control deck, which would be either the mill decks or the lava golem, just kind of stall them out and they do nothing and just kind of die over the course of a few turns while you just wait for them to die and undo whatever they do. So I've always found this type of control to be more interesting on both sides, like playing for or playing with and against it.
Right. So that is the deck. Hopefully we do see more of these decks in the tournament setting. Someday we will get to play them.
One day.
Kaiba Cup. So this is the first Kaiba Cup since the World Championships. So this is preparing for next year, so well in advance. We've mentioned this before in the past, but you should definitely try to get through Stage 1, because there are a lot of rewards for each time you level up. They're giving away 50 gems a day for 3 duels. There's no reason to really not do it. There's no penalty. So if it's probably a good idea to switch off if you're playing ranked into this format for now.
Yeah, or like you said, at the very least, play 3 games a day of the KC Cup. You have, if you're not trying to compete in Stage 2, so Stage 1 goes all the way through the 9th, and then, at least at my time, and then Stage 2 starts on the 6th and also ends at the 9th. So you don't get cut off of Stage 1 if you don't make it by the start of Stage 2. But so you should play at least 3 games every day, and you should probably play a couple games in Stage 2 if you can, because they've structured the prizes again such that you get a prize for getting top 30,000 in Stage 2 is where you get the SR ticket, and that's fairly easy if past experience has taught us anything to get. You kind of just need to win a couple more games than you lose in Stage 2, and then you get a couple thousand points and you get that SR ticket. But they've made it so that beyond that point, there's not much ramping of the prizes. So it's really only for the people who really want to compete beyond that point. They will get the first place, and only the first place gets an invite to Worlds. So that's really cool, but the competition is going to be very hot at the top. But ramping from the 30,000th place to I think you only get an additional prize that we actually care about if you get to top 1,000. So there's a very big range for kind of casual competitive people where it's not as important. And so you can kind of just play to get the rewards, and that'll be worth it for you.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing. So as long as you don't disrupt your life. If you're going for that first place slot, you might as well disrupt your life and not sleep and, go nonstop, go ham. But if you're just going for, the extra rewards, you could probably do it. Like, you just play a really good deck and you win more of your games, and then you camp out when you have to, to preserve your rank, things like that. But now that there's only one slot, people who may have, try-harded, they may be discouraged to not go for that top 1 slot and, do other things instead of just not sleeping or stuff like that.
Right, yeah. So since I've been there a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about what I've seen. I'm at rank, I checked, I'm at rank 16 now. And so I have seen a little bit of everything, especially when I started. I started at rank 10, and so those lower ranks, you see a little bit of everything. But there does seem to be a very solidified top 3 decks, and those are the UA, the Amazonas, and then kind of a distant third is Sea Stealth. But those seem to be the 3 most popular. And then I've seen a little bit of Fur Hires, Masked Heroes, and Lava Golem, and then even less of Spellbooks, but I do remember running into a couple Spellbooks. I have not seen any. I think maybe I've seen one Vampire deck, but that's not prevalent, unlike kind of what we just saw at the Duel Links meta, and I think what you said you were seeing a little bit of them on the ladder, right? On the PvP?
Yep, I did.
Yeah, so I don't know where they are, but they're not at least what I've seen so far in kind of the ranks of 15, 17 where I've been for the past couple days or so, I guess. So that's kind of what you want to look out for. Those 3 decks are the main things you're going to see the most of.
Well, look out, I'm bringing Vampires.
Yep.
With BLS.
Just make sure you're ready for the UA, the Amazonas, and the Sea Stealth. Most of the Amazonas are the Endless Trap Hell version, almost all of them, but I've seen a couple other skills as well.
Yeah, I've been burned by Lava Golem enough the last few days.
Yeah, I only saw a couple. I really, it really seems like the meta is pretty much UA and Amazonas, and then Sea Stealth is kind of to counter the meta. Because Sea Stealth does very well against the Endless Trap Hell version of Amazonas. I still haven't quite figured out how I want to play against the UA. I only win about half of those. But I might just have to build the deck a little differently. So, anyway.
I guess so, yeah. That's what You earn your money, and you're called Deck Tech, and Tech against the UAs.
There you go.
Tristan is here. This is his second appearance, I believe, as a duelist, and the cards are not remarkable at all. And I got all the cards. Well, I got almost all the cards by not even farming, so I just all dueled and got everything. So, the same for you?
I'm not quite there yet, but yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm just auto-dueling because I didn't want to devote time to trying to farm him, and like you said, the cards really don't seem like they have a chance of being the most relevant, and so I just kind of didn't bother with it. And I'm currently missing one of each of the brand new cards, but I'm fine with it, and I still, of course, have time, so we'll see.
Yeah. The only card I'm missing is the R, which is weird. Like, I got the UR and the SR before the R in the end.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Generous. Let's talk about the UR Giant Orc. 2200 4-star Fiend. If this card attacks, it's changed to defense mode at the end of the battle phase. You can't change this battle position until the end of your next turn. So we have a lot of these cards where they're just overstated 4 stars. This is kind of like Goblin Attack Force, if you remember that card. There's a 23, I believe, 0.
Mm-hmm.
And this one switches over for 2 whole turns, 2 of your turns. There's that second Goblin, which has synergy with it. Or you could, this is a very beginner type card, and you could use Chalice on it, if you have that.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of something you could do. It seems like a lot of these events are more focused on the beginners, where they're cards that established people such as us aren't going to play. But they're like decent enough cards that maybe, if you're new to the game, like, sure, maybe you'll pick this up and you'll play it until you get a kind of a better meta deck or something.
Yeah, the Dark Necrofear is a free card. So let's say you have Dark Necrofear, it's getting like your strongest fiends, and this is going to die anyway, so it helps towards the Dark Necrofear type deal.
Yep, sure. Well, and it's not new because it was just in the last one too, but I remember the Berserk Gorilla, when I was playing, it was good enough that you would use it as a budget substitute in your real decks when I played the physical card game. So, like, it's an okay card. Like, I bought a single of it for $1, I remember.
So funny. Scrap Kong, 4-star Beast, 2000, 1000. When this card is normal summoned, destroy it. When this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can select a scrap monster from your graveyard except for Scrap Kong and add it to your hand. So right now this card's literally unplayable. You see Tristan play it, he summons it, he destroys it, so there's no effect. But I've heard that scraps are a synchro archetype, and so it's a good idea to get this card in case they become handy later on.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused by it, but I guess it makes sense if there's more coming that it might work with.
Yeah, there's no scrap cards at all. Like, it's just coming on its own. Too early for the party. Second Goblin. Rare Fiend Union 100-100. Once per turn during your main phase, you can equip it to the Giant Orc, and then unequip it and special summon in face-up attack. When equipped to the monster, you can change the equipped monster's battle position once per turn. When that, if the equipped monster is destroyed as a result of battle, destroy this instead. So it does 2 things. It's a union, so it protects it 1 time from battle, and it keeps the Giant Orc in 2200 attack instead of 0 defense. Union cards, they kind of did that. They're an old mechanic. Maybe you'll play it together in your beginner deck.
Yeah.
And then the Acrobatic Monkey, which is what Tristan became, and for a whole season. That's all it's for.
Yeah, it's not a card you play.
Nope. In no circumstances. Alright. So, we are going to talk about the new rank ticket cards. as I mentioned yesterday, the new season began around 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I think these are the new ones. But you could also get some other cards like Amazon's Princess with your Euro tickets if you're missing those. So it's a good thing that they're circling back to past events. If you missed the Mai event, you could get your Amazon's Princess. So it's good.
Yeah.
Simorg, Bird of Ancestry. This is the new UR, 8-star winged beast with 2900 attack, 2000 defense. Both players tribute summon wind monsters with one less tribute than required. If you tribute summon this card by tributing only wind monsters, return up to 2 cards your opponent controls to their owner's hand. This card is treated as a normal monster while in your hand. This is a card that I thought was really, really good. But it's still very interesting because I didn't know the rules. It makes the future wind monsters one less tribute, but itself is a 2 tribute monster. And if you use the wind tribute summon, you can send 2 cards back, which is better than Feng Huang, because Feng Huang only targets the back row, and this one can do monsters too, so that's pretty interesting. And finally, it is a normal monster, so you could use ancient rules to cheat it out.
Yeah. So I'm looking at. You would think that the ones that matter most would be the 5 and 6 star wind monsters, because those are the ones that you can now play without a tribute. And unfortunately, there's not really a lot of good options. There's the BES Tetran, but that's kind of mediocre. It only has 1800 attack, and it's got a decent effect, but it's kind of more defensive. You've got, I don't know, Birdman Joe. You've got the Tricky, which kind of works with the deck because it can help you summon this Simorg before it gets out, because you can obviously use it as a ramp, or you can just use it as a powerful tempo play after Simorg is already out. But there's just not really much support right now. It kind of seems like the main problem to me.
I just realized as you're going through those cards that wind monsters specialize in bouncing stuff.
Yeah. They do, which, if you bounce your Simorg, is bad. And then I even looked at the next bunch, the 2 tribute wind monsters, and there's not even a lot of options there either, so I don't know. I'm not impressed yet, but it is, like you said, a very interesting card, and maybe something will come up.
Spellbreaker of the Ice Barrier. This is an SR card, and as I mentioned on Twitter, is censored in this version. 4-star spellcaster, 1200, 2000. Once per turn, you can send 1 Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard. If you do, spell cards cannot be activated until the end phase of your next turn, as long as this card remains face up on the field. So, I've played Ice Barriers a bit just to meme around, and all they do is play spell cards, because they're a removal triangle card as a spell. They use Murray of Greed to draw. They use, not the card, shoot. The one that, it's like a pot. It's like you flip a coin and a cup of ace. So, you're going to be playing like a completely different control style instead of the one-turn kill version. But one thing to consider is that it'll stop spells for 3 turns, yours, theirs, and yours again. So that could stop like a spellbook deck for 1 whole turn, which could be devastating for them.
Yeah, it might be. It's an interesting card because, you need it. It has such low stats that you need to either activate it right away, or you need to, set it and then they attack into it. I don't know. It's an interesting card, but we were talking before about how Ice Barriers were close, and they almost, they got a couple new tools, and maybe they can make a comeback. And so I guess this is kind of continuing in that vein, but it doesn't seem like this is it either, right?
The new tool is a spell too, I think.
Yeah, so anti-synergy there. So even more anti-synergy, I guess.
Yeah. Necroshade. Necroshade's already in the game. The next one is Wind Effigy. We've seen these cards in the beginning of the game, these effigy monsters, but this is a 4-star winged beast with 1800 attack and 200 defense. It's treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a wind normal monster. I think there was a bunch of them, like the Dark Effigy, if I recall, and then the Flame Ruler, I think it was called, really early in the game. But this is specifically for Simorgh, so it counts as 1 tribute, and it has 1800 attack.
Yeah. Yeah, we played a couple of these very early in the game. Like you said, there's kind of a ramp deck that used some of this stuff. And it was pretty solid back then, but even then it wasn't like game-breaking. So now this feels pretty weak. But, I mean, it's just an R, and it's one of those things that you always kind of... there's always a chance you might end up using it, so I'm definitely going to pick these up just in case. Even though... I don't know if I'm going to pick up the Simorghs because URs are a little bit harder to come by, but this is like a very easy grab for me.
Yeah, I'm at the point where my Rs are just getting extras. Like, all my Rs are... I have all the Rs, I think.
Yeah, you got a Glossy and then Prismatic your, I don't know, whatever, your favorite cards. That's what I did.
Psychokinesis. That's what I did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm paying homage to my past as a psychic player, which I never got King of Games with. So.
Oh, well, a decent number of them are wins, so they might be coming back. Hey-oh.
It's true. I forgot about that. Space-Time Police. That deck is coming back.
There you go.
Card Flipper Campaign is here, and I don't have... Oh, I have it. This is the Tristan version of the Card Flipper Campaign, and we have one new card, Nomadic Force. This is a wind monster. Warrior effect, 1700, 1000. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you contribute this card, target one face down defense position monster your opponent controls, and then destroy it. It's super situational, I think. It has to destroy, and then they have to have a face down. These force cards, there was an exiled force, I believe, in a set as a UR. They were never really good, because I don't think you ever gain an advantage on the board. It's always like a 1-for-1, right?
Yeah, I mean, this one is more than a 1-for-1, but it's harder to activate. Like you said, it's very situational. A 1700 that's destroying an opponent's monster, if you set that up, you're already, coming out on top, and so it seems like it seems almost like a win more card in that sense. Exiled Force was decent in the TCG back when I played, but I guess that was because you had more... I don't know. It was a little bit less swarmy and more ways
Speed
to
duels
get them
hurt
back.
it, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. This one, like you said, it doesn't seem super strong. I do like it gives the tip that you can use it alongside Paleozoic Canadia.
What? Oh yeah, you can flip their guy.
Yeah. So, there you go. That's the play.
The tips are really funny. That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
The skill lists. Why don't you talk about the skill lists?
Yeah.
This is a change that was desired for a really long time.
Yeah, I love this. I think it's really good for, brewers such as myself who like to figure out new things and how to build stuff. Basically, what they've done is they've added an easier way to reference the skills that you have, either just as a whole or by the character. So you can go into the card studio, which for me is the panel that I use pretty much only to watch the replay to get 5 gems every day. But if you actually click on that door, you can go in and then there's a new thing called the skill list, and it just shows you all of your skills. You can see it by newest, you can sort it by popular, which will obviously help you. You can sort by obtained by fewer characters, which is good because if you're trying to figure out who has a hard or a rare skill, you can say, okay, which ones are these? And that's really good because you can see what you when you're trying to decide how to build a deck. Okay, I specifically need a deck that has, I don't know, Draw Sense Light or something for a farming deck. You're like, okay, who has that? And you can find it that way. It also, both in this studio when you're doing the sorting and in the other way you can look at it is by character. And there's now, in the character select, there's a little view skill button. And both lists show you both the skills that you have with the characters and the skills that you don't yet have. And that's really good for if you want to figure out what you're missing, like, I want my, my Merrick to get another balance, to get balance. So I'm going to go do some of my legendary duelist battles and try to earn that one. So I think it's really cool for a few reasons. It helps deck building. It lets you know what skills are available. Oftentimes before there was like secret skills. I remember for the first year of the game, there's kind of like secret skills where people didn't know that you could pick up certain stuff. And it's also good if Konami decides to further push the World Champs format that they did this year, where you have to have different characters with different skills for those kind of special duels, and just kind of for your general lineup structure, because it can kind of help you better visualize that and find the other skills that you might not otherwise use. When if you're only playing on the PvP ladder, you're only forced to play one deck. If you have one meta deck, you might not branch out and check out those skills, but if you're forced to play 5 decks or 3 or whatever with different skills, then this will help you finding those skills that you might want to use. So I'm very excited about this. I love this feature. It's a great quality of life improvement for people like me. It's simple, probably not going to get a ton of use, but enough that I'm glad they did it, and I think it was worth it.
Yeah, there should be no guessing game on the skills. Especially, it's even better for the new characters. When we get Belle, we're going to know what we need from her, what the skills all do, and of course 5Ds, when that comes out, there's going to be a gazillion new skills.
Yeah, that's true. Going to be great for those new ones where otherwise we would be like unsure as to what we have. Now you can just check, and that's really awesome.
Animated game mats. There's 2 new animated game mats you can get. $5.99 or 500 gems. As much as I would like to see the Silent Magician grow up, 500 gems is just too much.
Yeah, that's 10 packs, which is like 1 to 2 decent cards.
Right. Yeah, maybe decent.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I think that this is actually great, because I love that they are offering aesthetic things for money for the people who want them, and they're offering you to do it with gems as well, which is amazing to me, because I hate when they lock things behind only money. And
which was ironically the Silent Magician.
Right, yes, yeah. That's true. There is some funny aspect to that, a little bit of irony there, but I think that generally this is a great step in terms of their business model. This is the type of thing that I want to see more of. It does not appeal to me at all personally, but I know that it does appeal to some people, and I'm really glad that they're doing this. It seems like a much better way to monetize their game to me than to lock cards behind money only, or to kind of be stingy on gems. We're getting a ton of gems right now at the KC Cup, but before this, there was a lot of talk about how they were kind of nerfing gem rewards and stuff, and it felt like maybe that was part of their monetization plan, and I hope it isn't, and I hope that type stuff like this is.
Yep. I agree with everything that was said. This is what pretty much every modern game does. So they're getting into the trend of what every modern game does. So. Alright. Jaden's birthday. We got some new cards. Well, they're not new cards, they're old cards, but we got some Glossy and Prismatic, Avian, Burstinatrix, Flame Wingman, Skyscraper, and Neos. We didn't get gems, but free stuff is free stuff, so sure.
Yeah, exactly. Not going to complain. Like you said, I'd rather get gems, but cool. Shinies.
Upcoming news. Duel-a-thon, Cyrus to the Gate. These aren't really events. They're just things to happen while the Kaiba Cup is still going on, so that's going to be the next week. Or even Sunday. Who knows? The Decklist features update was delayed till September 13th. And notably, the deck board will be gone. No more deck board.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I guess they have enough ways in-game that you can look up popular cards and popular skills, so they don't need to show complete deck lists. I don't know how often that was actually being used anyway. Probably not much since they decided to cut it. I would assume that the people who are most likely to net deck are also the people who would most likely just go online and do actual net decking instead of doing it through the game client. So, and then of course you can look up decks every time you play someone on the normal PvP ladder. You can just look at their deck. So, I think that they must have decided that this just wasn't getting enough use, and I'm not terribly surprised by that.
And they mentioned that people actually paid gold for deck board slots, which was something I didn't even know existed.
Me neither. So
Yeah, see, that's why it's being removed.
what happened to the people who paid gold for it then?
I think they're getting it back or something.
Okay, interesting.
It's just gold, though. Yes. I would just be like, keep the gold.
Yeah. Can I get anything else, please?
One UR jewel.
Yeah.
Just the one. Ubel will be obtained, so along with that, new cards, new skills, and of course gems. The 5Ds is coming late September, so we only have to wait 3 more weeks till we get some motorcycles. And Esperoba's team event is happening early October. So 2 more things coming up. The addition to upgradable cards. Talk about that.
Yeah, so this kind of came up in the announcements, and it is separate from the upcoming news announcement, which is why it's a little bit weird. It's got its own section here. But the long and short of it is that starting September 13th, you'll be able to upgrade cards. These are cards that are not from the trader, so I think it's the first time we've been able to ourselves upgrade non-trader cards, is the thing that you pointed out to me was kind of the uniting factor of these. The cards are a bunch of kind of iconic cards, the ones that are tied to specific characters like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Necrofear, Lava Golem, Jinzo, etc., as well as a bunch of cards that are kind of iconic to Duel Links, like Amazoness Princess, Enemy Controller, Union Attack, Anti-Magic Arrows, and then kind of a couple other cards that are just, I guess, event cards that aren't as important, but maybe you want those instead. Anyway, it's cool because we get to upgrade non-trader cards, and the downside, though, is that the cards, it says that they will be upgraded with gold and gems instead of either jewels or like rare stones, and to me that seems not worth it, but some people might think that it's worth it because they really want to bling out their collection. So you'll get your chance starting September 13th. It says that it is going to be only a limited amount of time, but it doesn't say how limited, so we don't know how long it'll last. If you want to get in there, make sure you check it out starting on the 13th so you don't miss your chance.
I guess the one consideration into competitive, I quote competitive, is if you want a Kyber Corp Bling card, and you make like your Lava Golem Prismatic or something.
That's actually...
And then you just like...
Yeah. I like that. That's a good... Because... How does Kyber Corp Bling... Do you know the exact...
It's like lose 1,800 and then you draw the Prismatic card.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah, that works.
Yeah. So if you have only one Prismatic card, then it's a tutor effect, which is really cool. And you can build your deck around it. I think we saw someone use it in a major tournament recently, right?
In the world, a Japanese player brought... I think it was for the Princess. The Princess was Prismatic.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And you were right, it was 1,800. And then your next normal draw, you can instead draw a random Prismatic or Glossy. I didn't realize that.
Oh, so you have to cut your Glossies then.
Yeah. So anyway, that's probably the one use if you want to use it for competitive play. Good call.
Extremely fringe youth.
Yeah. But, worth noting. Tutor effects are cool.
And tuners are coming soon with 5Ds. There's a number of cards that are going to come to the game. We're not going to talk about them because they're not officially here. But we have a Fusion Hate card, we have a Monarch Support card, we have Familiar Possessed. We also have our first tuner. And this tuner is coming as a ranked reward for October. And it's very likely by 5Ds is going to be here. We're going to have some tuners as well, but this is just one. So I guess it's kind of our intro to tuner section. And this card is the DD Sprite. It's a 1-star fairy tuner, and when I say tuner, it's basically its effect. And it is an effect monster on its own, too. It's a 0/100. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one face-up monster you control. If you summon this way, during your next standby phase, return the banished monster to the field. What is a tuner anyways? So, I don't know if you... people may notice, people may not notice. Synchro summons are in your extra deck, and they come out by adding levels. So this is a level 1 tuner. You get your level 4 monster out. They combine into the 5-star synchro in your extra deck. So that's how it works. And this one is pretty good because you can special summon it. So you have your monster on the board, you special summon it, you normal summon your 4-star, and then they contact fuse or whatever, and then they become the 5-star synchro. And then this card has the extra ability of banishing the guy that enabled it, so you get that monster back. It's kind of like a Dimension Gate effect. So that is what a tuner is.
Nice. So those ones are looking, because we expect the synchros to come with the motorcycles, so they might become very relevant in this upcoming, I guess, next month or so.
Yeah, it's something people want and don't want. It's kind of like if the tuners, the synchros will power creep everything. It's very possible to do that, but it's also very possible Konami nerfs them so hard that they're just in line, or they might not even be played. We don't know. It's gonna be hard to say. We won't know till they're here.
Right. Yeah, it's impossible to know. We saw a huge power creep come when GX World came. We were kind of dominated by Cyber Angels for a long time, but eventually Konami fixed it by nerfing them and adding other stuff, and that kind of seems like a relic of the past at this point. So sometimes it takes them a while, but they eventually do fix things that are broken, and I'm still amazed at how frequently they don't break the game, considering how often they release cards. It kind of seems like a miracle that it's not constantly broken. So, I have faith. I'm willing and interested to check out this new kind of style of dueling that I've never dueled with before, and we'll see how it goes.
Right, we're going to be learning the game over again, both of us. A lot of people online are familiar with those cards, and we will not be in that class.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. You guys can yell at us through your phone or for whatever for being idiots when we don't understand how these cards work or why they're good or bad or something. So that's always fun.
Yes, misplays will be plenty. All right, so that is going to be it for us this week. Thank you very much for listening. You can listen and subscribe on any podcast thing. Just search the Duel Assessment, subscribe and listen. Check out the podcast and more at our website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theduelassessment. You can help support our work at Patreon, patreon.com/duel_assessment. Email us with any questions at theduelassessment@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Twitter, where we've been interacting with a lot of people, and we've gotten a lot of new followers recently, so thank you, Konami. Duel_assessment, me at Green Ranger CCG, and Deck Tech at HS Deck Tech.
Yep, love to hear from you guys, and we will see you next week.